to the members opening for the Art Tapes 22 exhibition. My name is Chris Coates. I'm the director of the University Art Museum, and we have a very special guest with us this evening. Maria Gloria Bicocchi is here from the Venice Biennale with her family, and she and Alice Hutchinson, who curated the exhibition, are going to go do a walkthrough, and as we normally do, it'll be a conversational type of atmosphere, so if you have questions, I'm sure these guys will be willing to talk about it as they go. This is a major exhibition for us which opens the fall season. This sort of brings Long Beach history. It matches it with the University Art Museum's future. This is an amazing show, amazing collection of works from the early 70s, and I'm going to let these guys talk about it in just a second. But we have a number of people we need to thank that have helped us put together this exhibition. And first of all, the J. John Getty Museum for all the equipment they've loaned us, Gillespie Foundation, the Italian Cultural Institute, the Pasadena Arts Alliance, the P. and Norton Foundation, the Venice Biennale Foundation, the Historical Archives for Contemporary Art. Without all of these guys help, this exhibition wouldn't have opened this evening or taken place. So Alice is going to start, I believe, with Maria Gloria, so I'm going to turn it over to them. Thanks for coming. It's great to see everybody here.
First of all, thank you so much, Maria Gloria Bicocchi and her family, for coming all the way from Florence and from Napoli to Long Beach for the opening tonight. Now, I just want to make a quick correction because Maria Gloria, who founded Art Tapes in the early 70s, is not from the Biennale. She is based in Procida, in Napoli, and the loan itself is from the Venice Biennale. So the tapes that we have here are
given by the Biennale.
Were actually acquired by the Biennale in 1976 at the demise of Art Tapes 22. So perhaps you can start to tell us the origins of Art Tapes 22.
I try. So it's very funny because our tape was, it's all right?
Closer.
Our tape was not at all a production organized, in a way that it just came out like that, very spontaneously, with some friends, and we decided to set up such a miracle history, because for Europe, videotape, art...
Can you speak up a little? Speak up.
Because for Europe, the medium was absolutely unknown, and nobody had anything. And so it was such an adventure that we started, and I must really be very grateful to the artists that agreed to start with us this adventure. Let's say Chiari, we started with Giuseppe Chiari and Manetti, and suddenly Kounellis came and worked for us. It was, everybody was saying he will never come. You are, they don't know you. I mean, in Florence, you used to work in our house. That's the sofa of our house at the beginning. Then we had a large space, fantastic, just under my apartment. And that's the reason, which was in Via Ricasoli 22 in Florence. And that's the reason why our tape has been called Art Tape 22, after a little misunderstanding that we were in Basel, and I was sharing the space with Leo Castelli and Sonaben, and I won the first prize for New Tendency with very few tapes I had. And when I went to pick up my prize, the person who was given the prize said, I give this prize to Art Tapes, and it seems like he was giving the prize to the new media, and not to me, not to our production.
Generic.
And so David Ross, he's a friend, and he was there. He said, "Why don't you identify your art tapes, and why don't you choose a little particular thing which really brings you to be recognized?" You, I mean, and so we decided to go to Art Tapes 22. And then we had this space, very huge, on ground floor, and where artists could live. Also, we have a little room and a large space to work, and very, very fantastic operator. Bill Viola was one of those.
I'm going to ask you, how did Bill Viola come into your life, and what was the circumstance, and how did you meet him, and how did he end up in Florence?
So, Bill Viola is still in my life.
Yes.
And I met him through David Ross. because he was the favorite pupil of, in a way, of the girls. And in Colonia, we went for a video exhibition, and Billy just did finish his studies. And David said, why don't you pick up this boy and bring him to Florence with you working? It would be fantastic for him to live in such a city.
I think he had just made this just beforehand.
And Billy said, yes, I will. And in 3 months, suddenly he arrived to Florence, and he stayed 2 and nearly 3 years. And with our family always, he was used to bringing my kids to school, and he was fantastic. He's a great friend, he's a marvelous person.
So tell us a little bit about the work that was produced, some of the highlights. There's a great piece here by Douglas Davis that caused some intrigue.
Especially at that time, was not at all keen on contemporary art. And people from Florence were, and are still, very conservative. And they used to get scandalized very, very quickly, the ladies. And I had a friend, a very young friend, actually, at that time, who was a teacher. And she decided to break her fear, how do you say, suspicious, and come and visit with her pupil, the space. So she did arrive with, let's say, 8, 9 young boys, my nephew's age. And they entered the space, and in that very moment, Douglas Davis was we were producing Douglas Davis Florence tape, in which he's naked. He's on a big perspex sheets, and he's standing up. And when this friend of mine went into the studio to show these boys and girls how a production video, our production was working, she came, and in that very moment, David was up there naked, like a David of Donatello. And that she ran away. She took all the kids away. Costanza Benini. Yes, very funny. A lot of funny stories, you can imagine.
And so your children too, the whole integration of the production was very much centered around your family life.
Si.
And the artists were very much included in this family life. It was quite a unique situation.
Si.
Maybe you could talk about how your children responded to being in this.
Si. So the five of them. So they were really participating too, because when we were producing the videos, they used to go out, not to make noise in the house, and only come back when somebody at the window was telling it's gone, okay. You can come, it's finished. And they were coming, they've been fantastic. And our tape was really a question, it was not a product, it was not something, how can I say, programmed. It was just a question of life.
Quite spontaneous.
Si. And all the artists, nearly all the artists, used to come in summertime in our house in Maremma and spend with us months, and the house was full. And so the life was continuing the work and starting new works during summer and talking about work. And so it was a fluid situation. And that was fantastic. And they used to say, especially the artists coming from the States, where Castelli, Sonnenberg had the production, for instance, and Stefanotti and Howard Wise was already collecting, that the situation was very professional, which in a sense is very good. In Florence it was not professional because we worked also during the night if the artist wanted. Alan Capro wanted to produce it during the night, his routine.
Really?
And we did it, yes.
So this was all shot at night?
All shot at night, yeah. So no, we had no problem because we really were participating totally. It was a different period. Money were not so important. I mean, we needed some money when my husband had the possibility of producing these things. But it was not a question. No artist took no.
Can you say something about Jannis Kounellis' work? Because I know when you started the studio, it was a very young, fledgling, experimental situation.
Si.
And you attracted probably one of the best-known artists in Europe at the time.
I went to Rome when I decided to produce the video art. First I did the tape with Agneti and then with Giuseppe Chiari. And then I went to Rome to meet Kounellis. and the Dominicis. And I went suddenly, I met him, and he said, come over in my house. And I will remember always his house, and with Effie, the first wife. He has this pappagallo, big pappagallo, saying, Kounellis, Kounellis.
It's a big parrot. It's a big parrot. Yeah.
And we were walking on one of his big pieces with the flesh, black. You know,
like the pigment.
On the floor. Mm-hmm. And we were walking on this marvelous floor, and he was throwing cigarettes on. You know, it was, and then he came to our house. I didn't have yet the space down on the ground floor, and he was sleeping, I think, in the sofa. I mean, he was really, and he produced this tape, which is
it's at the back.
And first he did try a fantastic tape that he didn't want then to maintain, was him with the golden mouth. Fantastic, fabulous, but he preferred. And we became so much friends. We are still friends. Still he sends me email or SMS, him and yes, close.
I'm very impressed that you're still very, very wired. Maria Gloria tells me that her whole backyard is wireless as well as her house. And so if anyone would like to ask any questions, please feel free. That was dedicated to the German pioneer Jerry Schum. First conceived for Jerry Schum in 1972 and was unfortunately interrupted by his suicide in 1973. And so he came to Florence, and this was the very first video installation that Beuys really conceived of. And he's allowed us to do it with a range of contemporary equipment, sending all the paper, of course, from Paris. And we're just very, very grateful. Maria Gloria has a fantastic friendship with him, so maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Daniel also has a house in Croatia, and I where to live, and we are always spend a lot of time together with him and his wife and Shaka. And he did this installation in memory, remembering the project that he did for Gary Schum originally. And this has been the only video project that we did, only installation that we did in Arte. Bill, you were there?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay, so, and you have a lot of interesting...
I'm very emotional because I
Just in this room here, we've got Joseph Beuys, which was originally shot on celluloid, on film, which was transferred to video. Can you talk about this piece?
This was an action that he did at the Lucia Melius Gallery in Naples. And during this action, performance, we had the possibility and the permission of doing this film and transferring it in video.
So it's quite an interesting piece.
It's an alchemic piece.
Yeah. The plant, I think, is the alchemical
exactly.
healing.
And the copper, ramen.
Yes, copper.
He's trying to heat the copper, you know. And
he's doing a transfer action.
Yes, exactly.
Transfer action. So shall we move into the first galleries here and maybe talk about John Baldessari's Italian tape?
See, that I don't know about anything because he did it for us in the States.
In New York,
yes.
with Castelli.
See.
And we also have work by Jean Ott, the Swiss artist, and Charlemagne Palestine.
Let's go.
Here, okay.
This is Jean Ott piece, and it's a kind of meta language on video, because he's really experimenting with possibilities for that period. I mean, now that you know, his roles, and it's a video inside the video. It's a pathologic. It's a meta language.
It's like a mise en abîme.
It's a little bit like
frame into frames.
What Malek Cover is doing in third routine. The same. This is Palestine. This is Palestine body music number 2. The first one was taken in Paris and you don't have it here. And this was girato.
Walking through.
Yes, this magnificent villa of Bontalenti near Florence. And we don't hear the noise because the video is all on his voice. Yes.
But he's really creating a very intense
He's
music
running
voice.
around these empty rooms of this magnificent Timino villa, which is one of the most famous, and doing this kind of music, noisy music, intense, with his voice, until he gets tired and he falls down like
With his whole body, really.
See.
And then he collapses at the end.
He collapses.
And then behind us we have Eleanor Antin sitting at the dinner table with you.
Yes, me. Alberto Pirelli was the first guy who worked for our tape, and then the artist, which was
Eleanor,
dancing with the moustache.
Ballerina King.
Ballerina King.
Yeah.
See, this was the old kitchen in Via Ricasoli before the works were done.
And Eleanor Antin mentioned that she wanted to do an ending that didn't quite take place.
She wasn't very happy about this tape. I heard. I know. Yeah.
But it's beautiful anyway. At the end, she gets up in her
See, on her point with this tutu
and walks on perfect on point.
And then she goes out also like that, and then she comes in again. But I mean, all of them should be also listened, because if you only see the.
You can actually turn up the volume.
No, but I mean, I can say for this, but for Palestine for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You miss everything if you don't hear his voice and. Yes.
And so, what else?
Elsewhere.
Chiari, Giuseppe Chiari is one of my favorite pieces
this is
here.
One, if not the first, one of the first they produced. And Giuseppe Chiari was a Fluxus artist, he just died 2 months ago. And very, very sensible. And he's here too, if you don't hear it, you see his lovely hands.
It's a beautiful piece in which the piano keys are shot overhead directly, so it creates a beautiful graphic on the screen.
And there is a piece done after this video, which is a series of photos on the wall of his hands on this.
That's beautiful.
See.
And Christian Boltanski did a very interesting
He made
piece.
two.
It's a little bit disturbing.
See.
But
we did rent a little theater di Landarno in Florence, the theater of a church. Was a theater all falling down, and he did these 2 tapes.
this is his, riding on his grandfather's knee, and it gets very violent.
We used to go and drink after the.
I think you probably need to.
He was drinking a lot after.
So maybe talk a little bit about this Swiss artist that many people here might not know very well.
Well, he's a body artist, very ambiguous, in all his work, in his life as well, and he's working on himself very much, nearly always.
His own image.
Yes, his own image. And he was working with his wife, which are very similar, both in the expression, in the face, I think, and in the way of living. And they were exchanging parts, also in life,
There's an interesting interplay between the gender representation, between masculine and the feminine.
See, and you don't know which is really masculine, which is feminine. I mean, they can.
I think in this one he's wearing makeup. He put on the lipstick and eyeshadow.
Makeup and lipstick, yes. And this is the milk when the glass is full. It's like water is coming on his face.
These are 2 of my favorite pieces.
Yes, it's very beautiful. He was very good. Now he's an enormous man. Eating patatine and everything in New York.
What is patatine?
Patatine frites.
Oh, he eats a lot of pommes frites.
Sure.
French fries.
She's good.
He's not beautiful anymore.
No, I saw him in the photo. But maybe very interesting. And working with his face, his expression, and I really like his tapes very much. You saw the other one when he's kissing?
This. Can you tell us a little bit about how he prepared for this? I mean, in terms of the expression, or he just was it spontaneous, or
he just was looking himself in the monitor while the video was shot, and he's just looking at himself. That's all. Nothing is prepared. I mean, except a la carte or the most elaborated one. Yes, of course, they needed a kind of preparation. But otherwise, they are just like performances. Well.
So, would anyone like to ask any questions to Maria Gloria, or any of us? We've got a lot of viewing, so I hope that you all manage to take some time to view as much as possible. And thank you for coming.
Thank you.